Oh, hello, weary travelers. Come on in. It looks like the bard is about to begin. I'll pour the ales over the stories, fables, and tales about the bards, battle axes, and bows taking out their ferocious foes. Just take a listen to the tales that we spin here at the Carriage Rest Inn.
Previously on Carriage Rest Tales. Melwood Del Rey, Woods for short, began her life at the Del Rey Sanctuary in the small farming community of Apicure. Woods had a wonderful childhood with a large, loving family, but could never make a connection with her goddess Solpeller. As a priestess in training, she devoted her life to the sun goddess, but in her time of need it was not Solpeller who came to her aid, but instead the moon goddess Lucha. Lucha gave Woods the power to save her family, but it came at a cost. She was following a different goddess now, and her faith in Solpeller was shaken. She turned to the Order in search of answers, and was thus shunned by her family, and had to strike it out on her own. She has now been with the Order of Light for about 4 months, and has found a new family to call her own. Her teammates, Vaso and Nomis, their leader Benson, and their fellow recruits. As she carves out her new life within the Order, she finds more questions than answers. Let us join her now in her search for answers on this special episode of Carriage Rest Tales.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Carriage Rest Tales. I'm your host and one of the Dungeon Masters, Mike, and tonight we're going to do something a little bit different. It is a spotlight episode of Woods. It's still in line with the story, but we wanted to kind of spotlight each of the characters, and Woods is going to kick us off. So to my right, I have...
Hey guys, I'm Sam, and I'm playing Woods, Alvin Ranger, and I am super excited to see where this goes.
And I am the Mike's counterpart and second DM, John.
So last we left off in the story, you guys, as in Woods, Vaso, and Nomis, were preparing for the Festival of Lights, which is coming up in a couple of days. You guys just got I think it was... what'd you guys get together?
We were just in...
You were rehearsing for your performance.
Yeah,
at the
I
festival.
had just rolled for Fog Cloud, and I didn't do it quite well, so I was a little tired.
And so you were on your way back, but you were going to stop and get some food on the way back. And when you were on your route home, you ran into Damien and Dr. Graves.
Oh, yeah. We didn't actually say anything, though, right?
We did not yet.
Okay.
So you see them approaching you, and Damien's like, "Oh, Woods.
Hi.
Hello.
Sorry, hi. You caught me off guard a little bit. How are you?
We're doing pretty good. I was hoping
Okay,
that...
Damien, we found her. Can you explain what all of this is about now?
Yes. Maybe we can have a quick discussion over a bite to eat. I'm a little famished.
She kind of takes a breath, kind of looks around for a second. Yeah. I mean, I always can eat, so I'm in.
And it's just like a little street taco stand. It's nothing too fancy, but he just wants to, since he really likes food also.
Yeah.
And he wants to eat something, kind of break the ice a little bit more. And
Okay.
He's sitting with Dr. Vanessa Graves and Woods. And he's like, "So I don't know if you know this, Woods, but we just had a recent shock trooper corps return from Dorma. They were on an extended mission, and I don't know how much you know about the shock trooper corps."
I mean, other than the fact that Benson is one or was one, that's kind of it.
Yes. Benson was a shock trooper corps. Unfortunately, he transitioned into the commanding officer type positions. But something that is difficult on the shock trooper corps is we can only have missions that last roughly at most 30 hours. And the reason is there seems to be some sort of physical ailment that impacts our troops when they're in Dorma. Kind of like I don't know how to say it, like a erosion type effect. Like their skin starts to flake off. They develop a cough. They get pretty ill. And well, recently a shock trooper corps just returned, and they are in my facility recovering. And I'm trying to observe and try to learn more about them.
Okay. Why are you telling me this?
Well, I'm really hoping... You had said earlier yesterday that you have a sense of invitation or you feel welcomed in Dorma, like a pull towards Dorma. I'm really hoping that maybe you are immune to this sort of erosion type effect.
Dr. Graves, during the first part of this conversation, has been sitting there fairly impatiently. Like, this is all things that she already knew, and she was clearly not pleased with Damien for taking time out of her day and away from her other duties. But when he mentions, Woods, that you feel something different when it comes to Dorma, she looks at you very intrigued. Like this is the first she's heard of that.
I don't. Woods is so conflicted, right? Because she has been to Dorma, but she doesn't know if she should let these people know this. Yeah, I just feel different. And to be honest, the more I talk to you and the more I had a chance to have a conversation with Benson, and he kind of told me that about how he feels, and I think it's similar to how I feel. And I just get this warm, welcoming sensation when I'm near the rift.
Yes, that is a strange phenomenon that we wanted to discuss. Here, let's, the three of us, head over to our facility. I could show you the shock trooper corps. Maybe Dr. Graves can explain the conditions they're feeling a little bit more.
I mean, okay, I still just don't know how I can help.
I think, Woods, that something is different with you. And Damien, I assume, would like to do some research similar to the research we've been doing with Benson to see if we can use whatever's different about you to help our shock troopers and the rest of us to survive the threat from Dorma. The
okay.
condition that Damien referred to earlier, I've been referring to it as dissolution in my notes.
Dissolution. And she instantly thinks about Cave Carmine and watching him evaporate, basically, and assuming that's what's happening on the other side, and now wondering how painful that was for him.
Yes, the dissolution effect that Damien's referring to, I've not seen it myself in person because I haven't been to Dorma, but I understand it's not a pleasant experience for those that go through it. They feel as though they're falling apart, literally. I think anything that you can tell us, Woods, any way you can help us research this, I think it'd be very helpful. But Damien, what I don't understand is what more do you want? Why am I here?
Well, I'm really hoping that we can, all of us, go check up on our shock trooper corps, the ones that had an extended mission. They're a little bit worse for wear. Maybe just try to understand and talk to them about how they're experiencing Dorma and see if that helps spark any ideas between the three of us. And then obviously the reason I want you here, Dr. Graves, is so you can collect more notes, and also you can help me in running some baseline testing on Woods to maybe get a baseline of where she's at. And then maybe later, over the years as she's working in the order, we can take other tests to compare against the baselines.
Okay. Sure. Well, then let's go. I think I've spoken with those shock troopers who returned, but more investigation, I suppose, couldn't hurt. And you can tell that she's kind of thinking about something more than what you just said, Damien.
Woods is so confused that she hasn't eaten she hasn't eaten any food. It's just still sitting on her plate.
Are you not hungry, Woods?
I guess I'm not. I guess I'm not. Can we go see the troopers now?
Yeah, sure. We can walk and talk. It looks like Dr. Graves has some pressing things to get back to anyway, so let's not delay any further.
Okay. And she's just going to stand up.
So the facility is pretty close to the Academy of Light.
Okay.
But it is not necessarily connected to the Academy of Light. It would be in St. Harbor, so just outside of the Academy walls. It's kind of like a little warehouse facility.
Okay. Woods is probably going to stay pretty quiet because in her mind, she's replaying everything that has happened to her since the day that she closed that rift back at the Del Rey Sanctuary, right? So just chronologically in her head, this montage of that happening and then coming to the order, and then the feeling around her first rift and the warm feeling, then that dream she had with the baby, and and then meeting Cave Carmine and going through, and kind of all these things are just kind of cycling in chronological order, out of order, just through her mind as they're walking and trying to figure out how she fits into this picture.
Alas, the bard is needing a break, so I, your humble innkeeper, shall give a few announcements.
Hey guys, it's Mike, your host and Dungeon Master at Carriage Rest Tales. I just want to say thanks for spending the time listening to us on our podcast. It really just means a lot to us. If you are enjoying this content, please like and subscribe to this channel, and we'll pass this along to your friends so we can grow our listenership as well. You should also check us out on our website at carriageresttales.com. At our website, you'll be able to access some of our additional content, such as our one-shot episodes, but you'll also be able to see some of the information on how you can get a hold of us, either through social media or email. As always, thanks again for being a listener, and don't be a stranger. We'd love to hear from you. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Great. It appears the bard is back and ready to continue his tale.
As you guys are walking into the facility, it looks just like a warehouse, but it's kind of got, I would say you wouldn't know this, Woods, but it has like a more modern type feel, like very clean lines and it's very sterile environment.
Okay.
So it's basically like a laboratory.
Okay.
And you put together and remind that Damien is a scientist at heart. So he is trying to control any of the variables he can, which means trying to keep a sterile environment with limited, distractions and that type of stuff.
Okay.
He's ahead of his time.
Yeah, he's ahead of his time. And the first room that you get to, it's kind of this glass wall, and you look inside and you see 3 shock troopers. 2 of them are basically unconscious. They're sleeping and they're lots of bandages all over them. But there's one of them that's kind of sitting up, but he's kind of got, it looks like a bunch of blemishes on his skin.
Okay.
And that's all you see from inside the glass. So these are their shock trooper corps we were referring to. It looks like 2 of them are sleeping, which is probably good, but it looks like Trinston is ready. We can maybe talk to Trinston for a bit.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I don't know what you want me to say to him, but I guess I could talk to him.
So he's going to lead you inside. Trinston, I have somebody here to talk to you, and I was wondering if maybe you could explain your situation to her a little bit more.
Whatever you say, Damien. When can we get out of here? I'm getting a little cabin fever stuck in this box.
Well, it looks like your recovery is coming along pretty good. I'd say probably tomorrow or maybe the day after.
All right. Well, who's your friend? What can I explain?
Hi. And she's going to awkwardly kind of reach out her hand. What?
Trinston takes your hand and shakes it. He says, "Nice to meet you, ma'am."
I'm going to be honest, Tristan. I don't really know why I'm here. But I guess you're having some hard times in Dorma and coming back. So and she just is going to look at Damien like, why am I here?
Woods, I think to help describe, Trinston, can you explain how you feel going in and out of Dorma?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's going in, going out. It's stressful. It hurts. It's when we use the phase rounds to go in, it's like a burning feeling all over, and then cold. But mostly when you're there, you don't feel like yourself. I'm usually pretty, I follow orders, I do what I'm told, and I do it effectively. But when I'm over there, I start second guessing a lot. I don't find things as easy as I do over here. And
you don't feel warmer?
No, it's freezing over there. All of us, we all feel like that. Till the dissolution starts, at least.
And that's how you get pulled back over here.
Damien's going to look at you very interested as you said pulled back.
And Trinston even says, "What do you mean pulled back?"
And she catches herself. Well, isn't that what's happening? When you start to disintegrate, aren't you being pulled back here? Has anyone ever? And she looks at Damon has anyone ever stayed long enough to see what happens when this? And she gestures to his body when this finishes.
The tension in the room is palpable.
I would assume it would just continue until you died. Do you think it would be something different? That seems to be the natural order. They slowly start to disintegrate away.
What if I told you I knew it was different?
I would be extremely interested to know what you know.
Woods is going to walk out of the room.
Okay.
She's just going to look at Tristan and then just walk out of the room and she's almost having a panic attack. So she just can't believe she just said those things because she was basically fighting her friends, saying that we probably shouldn't tell the order the things that we know, but standing there and looking at this poor guy and like the things that he's gone through, she's just like completely overwhelmed and is just realizing that this is just so much bigger than her, and that she somehow can figure out how to go back and forth, and like she's just panicking at this point.
Dr. Graves follows you out of the room and follows you close behind and comes up to you and says, Woods, what's wrung?
Okay. And she like puts
breathe
her
for me.
head like down. Okay, this is oh crap. Okay.
Woods, take a minute. Breathe. Slow down. It's okay. We're here to help.
This is not okay. I can do it. I can go to Dorma. I've been to Dorma, and I didn't feel like this, and this didn't happen. And it felt good, and it felt like happy and warm, and I wanted to stay there, and I want to go back, but we can't go back because we just can't go back. But this isn't. Why is he in so much pain? Like, he shouldn't be hurting like this. Like, it doesn't hurt like that for me. And she's just staring at Vanessa.
This is the first time that you have ever seen Dr. Graves completely slack-jawed and speechless. Normally, her demeanor is very self-assured. She knows what's going on at all times. She's very confident. But right now, you are dropping completely new information on her, and that is not a feeling that she is used to. And her only response to your whole little word vomit there is, "You've been to Dorma?"
Yes.
When?
A couple days ago. And then I came back. And I think we should probably start from the beginning.
Okay. I think, why don't you explain this to me first, and then we can talk to Damien. I think that might be a little less stressful for you.
Okay. So we went to Amelia's grandmother's house, and there was a chicken that got lost, and we went in the woods, and Noma's turned into a pig, and we went through these walls with the moss on it, and we met Cave Carmine, and he's standing there, and he looks just like Carmine, and he talks like Carmine, and he cooks like Carmine, and all of a sudden we see this riff, and he says that he's from the other side, and the food doesn't taste good. Can you believe the food doesn't taste good? And he went over, and we decided to follow him. So we followed him. Well, we didn't all, like, Vaso refused to go through, but I went through and Nomas went through. And for me, it was just like walking through this, just like warm and angelic, like just amazing coziness, and like getting through the other side. I felt like I just drifted through this rift, but then I was there, and I was happy, but it looked so sad. And Carmine said there was things out there that are trying to get in, and he comes to our side because of the food, but he only lasts a few days, and then he dusts, and like this, he does this, but it doesn't look like it hurts him in that way, and it pulls him back to Dorma. And then
the slack-jawed look on Dr. Graves' face is back, and it's even more pronounced than before. She is awestruck at what you are telling her, and honestly, she's not even fully comprehending it. So once you finish talking, she asks you to pretty much start over at the beginning, and you have to explain it again 2 more times. With each time she gets a better handle on what you're saying and starts asking questions.
And I feel like each time Woods goes through it, like she starts to calm down, and she starts to like her anxiety's diminishing, and she's like becoming more a little bit level-headed. Exactly.
So after the 3rd time through, you are much calmer now. She has her usual demeanor back, and you've, at this point, clearly communicated exactly what happened with Cave Carmine and Dorma and all of those events. And she says, okay, Woods, I'll be honest, that's a lot of incredible information. These are things we've never seen before or anything. I think we need to go and tell Damien all of this. Clearly, I think he knows more than he's letting on about these things.
And she looks at Vanessa like, I want to go back and I want to help, but I don't want to be turned into some
lab rat.
Exactly. I don't want to be turned into.
I'll make sure that doesn't happen, Woods.
Okay, because I don't mind helping, but I also, and she like looks around in this like completely sterile white she's like, this is not the things that I enjoy.
Woods, I think you have something special, something that might be game changing for us. I think you can help a lot of people, and I understand why you don't want to be a lab rat. I understand completely. You should feel that way, and I promise, Woods, I'll make sure that you don't end up like that.
Okay, yeah, we should probably tell Damien.
Turning around, you see Damien is standing at the glass, kind of looking at you guys. He was originally going to come out and like talk to you and see why you had stormed off, because last he had heard you said that's not how it works. I know it doesn't work that way. And then you walked out, but he was caught because he saw you talking to Vanessa and you guys were having a good conversation. He didn't want to interrupt that, so he's just patiently waiting on the other side of the glass.
Dr. Graves looks through the glass and signals Damien to come out.
Damien turns and kind of waves to Trinston and walks out. Hello. I didn't want to interrupt. It looked like you guys were having a good conversation.
Yes. I think there's some information that Woods needs to tell you, Damien. But first, Damien, I need you to promise me something.
Okay. What can I promise you, Dr. Graves?
I need you to promise me that you're not going to turn Woods into an experiment.
Oh, no, I never want to make her I want to do experiments with her, but I don't want to make her the experiment.
Yes, I don't think it would be right to lock her away and keep her for things. You have to understand, I think she's going to tell you some revolutionary information here, and I want to make sure that we have Wood's well-being in mind first and foremost.
I agree. From what I've heard from Benson, she is a very important recruit. A good future for the Order. You don't want to lock her away.
Okay. Good. Woods, I think you should tell Damien what you told me.
So I've been to Dorma, and it was wonderful. So I think she'll go through did you want me to role play it out?
No, I just want to know if there anything you were going to leave out or add an addition when you were talking to.
Yeah. So Woods will more calmly walk through the chronological events. She will mention how she felt, and probably bring up how Vaso closed the rift, and how he seems to be enraged when he gets around it. So, I mean, I guess that's the story, right? Like we were there and we came back and you know, the rift's closed and now Carmine's stuck on the other side, and we want to get him back, and we want to help him because we feel like there are other people there.
Okay, Damien, it's my turn. I think you know more about this than you've told us.
As you look at Damien, he, when you were talking, reached into his pocket and pulled out like a little notepad, and he was just taking some brief notes while you were talking. And when Dr. Graves confronts him, he's like, I think there's something I need to show both of you. Please come with me.
Okay. Woods had a question, but you can taste she kind of like bit her tongue right before Dr. Graves spoke. So she's like, she's going to push that one back and say, okay.
He will then lead you further into the complex. And it's through a couple different doors, so you can kind of tell, doesn't want it necessarily at the front of the complex.
Mm-hmm.
And he opens a door and you see a citizen inside of think of like a 10 by 10 cage, you know, like a jail cell, but it's open on all sides.
Okay.
I would like to introduce you to Gordon. He is how do I say this? I guess you mentioned Carmine, but it wasn't the Carmine you know.
He's his twin. He's his Dorma. And she's like, they were a parallel universe. It's us on the other side, right? Like, that's what this is.
So this is only known by a handful of people. It is very confidential. We call those people shadow people.
And she instantly is thinking of her dream, where this baby that she is looking at, that she knows it's her, but it's dark and she's in the woods, if you will. And she now knows that there's a shadow woods somewhere out there.
I have been tasked by the Harbinger to learn and research how these shadow people affect us.
What do you mean?
So part of Well, we've discovered these shadow people about 3 years ago as part of the Shock Trooper Corps initiative. We don't find many of them, but we find them every once in a while. This person, Gordon, we encountered his shadow in Dorma, and it attacked us.
Wait, is this the Shadow Gordon or is this Citizen Gordon?
Unfortunately, when the shadow Gordon attacked us, the Shock Trooper Corps had to kill him.
Kill who?
The shadow person.
So this is so this is just a citizen that you're keeping locked up?
Well, we're not sure what will happen with this citizen because we don't know how they're linked, how the shadow people are linked to the Ivana citizens. So we are keeping him here for observation.
For 3 years? He's been in this cell?
Oh, no. We encountered the shadow Gordon 2 days ago.
Okay.
Let me in that cage right now.
Sure, I can let you. We're not trying to harm him or anything. We're just trying to observe him to make sure he's not.
Does he want to be here?
I want to do my own examination.
Yes. And he'll go over and let Dr. Vanessa into the cage with Gordon, the citizen.
So she, while she's in the cage with Gordon, she is kind of asking him some basic questions, how he's feeling. She's feeling for a pulse. She's doing all kinds of just very basic diagnostic actions while Woods, you and Damien continue your conversation.
Damien, you said only a few people know. Who knows?
Pretty much myself, the Harbinger, and the people on my staff.
Does Benson know?
He does not.
You're probably going to want to add Nomis and Vaso to that list because we figured this out already.
Okay, we'll probably have to bring them in for some sort of debriefing because we're just trying to keep it under wraps until we understand our enemy better.
Enemy? Why? Cave Carmine was not an enemy at all. I mean, he was sweet and nice and honestly just like Carmine in our kitchen. Why would you say he's an enemy?
That has not been our experience with the shadow people.
How many of these shadow people have you interacted with?
About 24 over the course of the 3 years, and every one of them has been hostile.
How far into Dorma have we been?
That actually is one of the reasons I asked you to come in. Right now, our mission time limits have a limit of 30 hours because we experienced that disillusion. We're hoping that maybe with your help and some advancements in technology, we might be able to come up with a method or maybe an inhaler or some sort of medication that will allow us to extend our missions to learn more, to go deeper into Dorma.
Dr. Graves finishes up her initial examination of Gordon, and she comes back out of the cage, and she walks up to the two of you, and very coolly she says, "He seems fine, stable, and nothing I can really see wrong with him. I don't know why you have him in a cage, Damien."
Well, we wanted to make sure we were controlling any of the external sources and we would be on alert and ready to act if anything were to happen, either to him or from him.
Well, I mean, a room with a simple looking glass spell could have done the same.
At that point, you actually all notice Gordon in the cage, and he makes kind of a grunt and grabs at his chest, and Dr. Graves notices this immediately and runs over and says, "Gordon, are you okay? What's wrong?" "Oh, it's nothing. Just I just got a little bit of chest pain. That's all. It might just be heartburn. I'm okay, Doc. I'm fine." And as he says that, he collapses back into his bed and begins convulsing. And at that point, Dr. Graves runs into the room.
But before she can get into the room, Gordon perishes, and a golden shard is now sitting on the bed. And it is silence in the room.
Yeah, basically, Dr. Graves got to the bed as he faded away to the shard. And she got there just in time to see him die, basically. And she turns around and looks at Damien with... Even though this look is not directed at you, Woods, you feel the heat coming from this look. And she very aggressively comes out of the cage and walks right up to Damien and says, "How dare you keep this from me? I can't believe you, Damien. I know we've had our differences in the past, but I cannot believe you would keep something this important from me. You understand what this means, don't you?
I was under direction to keep it quiet. I am sorry.
You should have told me.
Woods is going to sit down kind of in her spot, cross-legged, and she's just going to kind of like meditate. So back in her Del Rey sanctuary, anytime somebody would turn into a shard, like they would perish, they had this like special prayer that they would say. And so she's going to, is a big honor, especially coming from the Del Rey sanctuary. So even though she's not necessarily connected to the sun god anymore, like this is just her instinct. So she's going to sit down and in meditative style and just kind of walk through that in her mind.
Damien, I can't be here right now. I am furious with you. I cannot believe you would keep this from me, but I am going to have a conversation with the High Commander about this, and we will discuss this more tomorrow. And Dr. Graves turns around and looks like she's about to storm off and says, Woods, I think we should go.
Woods is gonna hear her nod and slowly stand up and just kind of look at Damien and go with Vanessa.
Okay, she leads you up and out of the facility, and she is not saying a word.
Either is Woods. A lot just transpired in the last 25 minutes, right? So she's trying to figure out, right now she's trying to figure out if she made the right decision coming with Vanessa or if she should have stayed with Damien, because I think Damien's the key to getting back to the other side, and that's kind of what she wants to do right now. But in the moment, I don't know, felt like it was the more dramatic thing to do than to go with Vanessa. So that's what she's kind of processing as they're kind of walking hastily back to the order.
If Woods wants to stay, you are welcome to stay, and we can role play some stuff with Damien.
No, I think that she made her decision.
Okay, sounds good.
So you get back to the order with Dr. Graves, and pretty much as soon as you walk in the front gates, she stops and says, okay, Woods, I think you should go back to your room and get some sleep. We'll talk about this more in the morning.
There's one more thing I need to tell you.
Yes?
I had a dream. To be honest, I've had it now twice. And I'm in the woods and I'm staring at this baby, and it's dark and it is scary, but I inherently know that it's me and it's looking right back at me. And I don't know if it's real, if it was a real connection I had, or if it's a memory, but I know that there's a version of me over there.
Woods, I think there might be something to that, but based on what you just told me, I think you can relax a little bit, because if it is a memory, then there's nothing you can do to change it. You just need to wait for more of the memory to come back. And if it's not a memory, if it's something more, then I think more will be revealed to you in time. My medical scientific mind tells me that it's just a dream and you shouldn't worry yourself over it at all. But given what we've learned tonight, I think there may be something there, and you just need to let it reveal itself to you in its own time.
Patience, something I don't necessarily do well with.
Woods, go back to your room and get some sleep. I promise I will take care of you. I'll make sure that you're safe, and I will find out if Damien is keeping anything else from us.
Thanks, Doc. And she's going to kind of grab her, kind of pat the side of her arm and walk away.
And so the bard's tale has come to a close. What a splendid crowd you have been. We hope we'll see you again at Carriage Rest Inn.
All right, so this is the part of the podcast that Sam likes the most, and that is getting to know your players. But since this is a spotlight episode, we're going to be doing something a little bit different, and instead of getting to know your players, we're going to say getting to know your character. So where is Woods at where's her headspace at so far in this story?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, I feel bad for all of our listeners, because I think the entire 30 minutes we recorded was just basically verbal diarrhea of Woods. So I think it's pretty evident where she is. She's confused. So 4 months ago, she was in this, she had this happy life, right, with her sisters and her family. And then all of a sudden, this moon goddess came to her, and her life has been kind of upside down ever since. And she has all of these questions, and it feels like every episode, more questions get compounded on top of that. And she's trying to dig in, and generally she's a lighthearted person, and she's fun, and she likes to work out. And, you know, she's a little abrasive and aggressive, but deep down, like, she's anxious and she's kind of self-doubting, and she's just trying to figure out her story and how she fits into this world. So I would definitely say confused and anxious, but trying to mask it as like she has everything together, and she kind of feels like she's the leader of the little trio that they have. So trying to figure out how to just work all those things in.
Perfect. I like that spot.
Oh, great. Yeah, as a DM, I'm sure you guys really enjoy it. As a player, I'm like, okay, what happened? And but honestly, it's paralleling, because I feel as me, from a meta standpoint, playing her, that's how I feel, right? Like, I'm so confused. You guys are doing such a great job with this story. I really hope the listeners feel that way too, but I'm really excited to see how things play out.
Who does Woods trust the most at this point, and who does she trust the least?
Oh my gosh. Okay, cool. We'll start with who does she trust the least? And it's probably Vaso, which she hates. She absolutely hates that she trusts Vaso the least. But I think she doesn't think Vaso has enough courage or strong will to stop the things that are coming over him, which she doesn't fault, because she wonders how she would act in that situation. But she doesn't trust his ability to keep his rage and emotions around a riff in check, and that honestly scares her.
So out of all the NPCs and everything, it's Vaso, your teammate?
Yeah, that I don't trust I know.
All right.
That's where she's at.
Interesting. Okay.
And who does she trust the most? Nomis. I definitely think I know this is so wild, because you guys probably were expecting I say like Benson and Damien or something like that, but I think she definitely is starting a kinship with Nomis, and she can appreciate his level-headedness, and she watches him navigate the extreme sides that she and Vaso kind of play, and he's the one that kind of keeps the team together. So I definitely think that she trusts him by far the most.
Thank you for doing our Spotlight episode.
And thanks, as always, to all of our listeners. As always, we very much appreciate you taking the time to listen to our podcast and this thing that we put a lot of time and energy into. So thank you.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.